At best, they are enforcing regulatory and civil laws. And there's no reason they should have firearms in the first place.
Let's give them pillows instead. Let's give them pillows, and they should take the, whenever there's someone who is agitating and someone who has a gun and someone who's armed and someone who's throwing bricks at them and ramming them with their cars and doing all these things, let's all get the pillows out of the van and let's build a pillow fort. Alright, so still reacting to the Alex Pretti shooting. This is a response from this guy who I really like, Legal Eagle. So he's a lawyer, so I'm really curious to hear his take. I mean, his title is already that, the execution of Alex Pretti broke me. Okay, yeah, I think it's heartbreaking. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, in my last video about it, I was a little bit rough in saying that he should not have been there, which I agree with. I think he should not have been there. But it is heartbreaking. Let me just say that it is heartbreaking to watch these things happen. But let me hear what this guy has to say.
I know all of us have seen the videos of what is basically the execution of Alex Pretti.
So right off the bat, I'm like, bro, execution, really? I mean, legally speaking, is this technically an execution? I don't know, man. I think that's a little bit the carrying out or putting into effect of a plan, order, or course of action, the carrying out of a sentence of death on a condemned person. You're a lawyer, right? I think you should be using words a little bit more carefully than that. I don't know that execution is the correct word. You're already beginning to frame this in a certain way, but we'll see. Let's see what you have to say.
I've seen it from more angles and more times than I care to repeat. I'm not going to give an in-depth frame-by-frame analysis. You don't need a lawyer to tell you what you can see with your own eyes, which is that it was an inexcusable state-sanctioned murder. There is no excuse. There is no justification, and it is the latest in what is probably a long line. This one happens to have been videotaped, thankfully, by many brave bystanders. As you can tell, I'm...
It's so funny too, because I mean, he's clearly in an emotional state. And by the way, I like this guy a lot. So I'm a little bit disappointed here so far at his reaction that it's entirely emotional. He's not making a legal argument in any way. He's just in his feelings, which I guess I understand, but I was expecting more of a legally sound reaction to this. But
I'm not in my studio. I was on a plane yesterday. Oh God, it's cold out here. It's 0 degrees, which is still 10 degrees warmer than it is in Minneapolis right now. But in some sense, I do this for a living. I analyze the
he's in his feelings.
Videos that are out there and think about things from a legal perspective. And, I saw the first video when it came out. It was pretty clear. But, with any video taken from across the street, there's some ambiguity. And but I think the second video came out. In the second video, you can hear that Alex Pretti's last words were, "Are you okay?"
Bro, you need to compose yourself. I'm sorry. You need to compose yourself. Maybe I'm too hard-hearted. I don't know. But you need to compose yourself. It's so funny how automatic sympathy is in these situations. That the sympathy is automatically for the person who got shot, which I understand. And yes, my sympathy is for him. But I would just as rather he had not been there in the first place. He did not have to be there. And also, you saying that this was unjustified is an unjustified murder? Murder? What's the mens rea, sir? Where's the mens rea? I'm trying to understand. Murder is supposed to require malice aforethought. Where's the malice aforethought? This guy's trying to subdue someone someone, you know, he has a gun on his hip. He's in the middle of all these officers being dogpiled. He's fighting back. He's not complying. He's fighting back, and one of the fellow officers yells, "Gun, gun." I don't know that you have a lot to go on here with this murder claim, bro. I'm sorry.
She said to the woman that was next to him, who had been pushed down by the ICE or CBP officer who was acting unhinged, where Alex Pretti just has his phone out and his left arm is free. I think those were his last words, and I think those were his last acts, was trying to help the woman that was pushed down by...
Yeah, but here's the thing, bro. I get it. This is the problem. This is the problem. How are you going to help her? There's half a dozen armed ICE agents with guns and pepper spray. This lady is in the way, I don't know, whatever. The officer shoves her down. What are you coming to do to help in this situation, sir? What is the help that's required of you in this moment? What is the help? What is the effective help that you can render to this situation? Obviously not much.
By the man in the green sweatshirt, who I think eventually was the first agent who shot him. And like I said, I'm not going to go frame by frame, but to my eyes, you know, the last thing that Alex Pretti did was to help others. And look,
the last thing that he did was inserted himself in a situation where he should not have inserted himself. Yes, he was there to help someone, but rather ineffectively. In fact, the people standing off to the side videotaping the situation are more helpful than he was.
My legal analysis doesn't change when the victim is, you know, a bank robber or a saint. Everyone deserves the same rights. And it doesn't justify or justify less the actions of what happened, but it does heighten the loss of what happened and the people whose rights are being taken away and their lives are being taken away. So look, I'm going to try and gather some thoughts, which I'm only going to do because I think a lot of people are, you know, thinking the same thing. Whether you're a lawyer or a layperson, I think we're all absolutely enraged, not only by, you know, the loss of Alex Pretti, but Renee Good and everyone else who has been, you know, pushed aside.
This is a problem here. This is a problem in his thinking. He thinks everyone is thinking in the same way that he is, and that's not the case. I'm sorry to tell you. Not everybody's... Yes, I've seen the footage. Yes, I've seen all the angles. Yes, I've watched it frame by frame, and I don't have the same conclusion to you. My conclusion is actually, in a way, I kind of understand where the officer is coming from. I'm not saying the guy should have been shot or should not have been shot. I mean, I'm saying it's a difficult, chaotic situation. The officer, we all have a unique perspective, right? That the officers in the situation did not have, which is we are able to review this scene frame by frame by frame from a safe distance through our screens, right? And we can see every little action and we can analyze, and we have all of these different angles. The officers in the moment, all they have is this guy in the middle of them with a gun on his hip, rustling and tussling and fighting them. That's what they have to work with in that moment. They don't have the playback. They're in the play. I don't think people are understanding this.
And has been caught in this web of what is clearly illegal action from our federal government. Like I said, it doesn't...
But it's not illegal for him to insert himself in a... It's not illegal for him to rustle and tussle and fight with the officers and insert himself when the officers are trying to control the scene? That's not illegal for him to do? I don't know. Tell me.
Doesn't change the legal analysis, but it does say something that
This isn't a legal analysis, sir. This is an emotional analysis. I'm sorry. I like you a lot. I really do. I'm a huge fan of your channel, but this is not a legal analysis.
Alex Pretti and
You're just emotional.
Renee Good before him seem to be the best of us. And there's a reason why they
Fuck me, if he's the best of us, goddamn.
were gunned down. It's because they put themselves out there.
Unnecessarily, yes.
And by God, that's commendable.
No, it's
And
not.
we need to continue to stand up.
It's not commendable. It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. That's what it is. I don't know that it's commendable.
Because they did too. And look, you don't.
Because he died for. I mean, who did he save exactly? What did he do? What was his heroic act? He asked the woman if she's okay. She got shoved by an officer, and he runs in to White Knight and, or are you okay, or whatever it is, and then rustling and tussling with the officers, bro. What did you accomplish that day? I don't understand. What did you do? What was your result? Nothing. You died for nothing.
You don't need to be a lawyer to know that their shootings were not justified. But I think we need to take a step.
I'm disappointed, to be honest. I'm really wondering if you're a lawyer. I'm wondering if you've been on YouTube too long here, because I don't know how you just pull that it's not justified. I don't know. It's not, to me. I don't see that at all.
Back to recognize that,
In fact, I don't know whether or not it was justified or unjustified. It's hard for me to say, because outside of the circumstance and not having training that these officers have, and not knowing what's going on in his mind, and whoever took the shot, not knowing what they're seeing and what they're expecting. I mean, you don't know. You really don't know. You're sitting in a nice winter coat, nice and comfortable, with your hair nice and gel back, and everything is nice and fine for you. You're not out in the streets rustling and tussling with these guys. You're not seeing your fellow officers being doxxed and shot and attacked and spit on and things being thrown at them and all sorts of stuff. You're not there. So this Monday morning quarterbacking and kind of sort of armchair analysis, it's too emotional, and it's completely cloudy of vision.
ICE and CBP shouldn't have been there in the first place.
He shouldn't have been there in the first place.
No right and no duty to do crowd control, to be on the front lines using weapons against protesters. These people should not be armed. We've sort of grown inured to it, but they are not enforcing criminal law. Even when they are enforcing immigration laws, which they are not right now, it is state-sponsored protest control of people exercising their First Amendment rights. At best, they are enforcing regulatory and civil laws, and there's no reason they should have firearms in the first place.
There's no reason they should have firearms in the first place? Where am I? What are you talking about? There's no reason they should have firearms in the first place? In America, where everybody's grandmother has a firearm? In America, where people walk into schools and churches and stuff and start shooting randomly? There's no reason for these officers to have a firearm in the first place? I'm trying to follow this logic. What kind of logic is this? This doesn't make any sense at all. How are they supposed to protect themselves? How are they supposed to protect each other when you have protesters throwing things at them, spitting on them, attacking them, fighting them? What are they supposed to do? I don't understand. The legality of them being there is a different situation. If you brought the government to court and you could prove that all of this is illegal, good on you. You should do that. by all means, y'all should. What needs to happen is you need to get the League of Lawyers together. All of you guys need to get in a van, drive to the wherever you're supposed to go, the Capitol building or the Congress, wherever, and bring the government to court. That's what you guys need to do, legally speaking. But guess what? They're already out there and they're already armed. So the question now becomes, what is the reasonable course of action for this civilian to take? And it's not for you to be in there with a gun on your hip, rustling and tussling with the officers. So the civilian has a right to have a gun on his hip, but not the ICE officers. Make that make sense?
I don't even think should have less lethals like pepper balls, and they shouldn't be using tear gas and pepper spray and bear spray.
Wow. And guess what? And everybody should be holding hands, and we should all sing Kumbaya, and we should all go skipping in the streets, and let's all go make some snow angels, and let's have a picnic together, and let's just let's get together and feel all right. That's hey man, that's we should all just we're all just hey man, let's all just be living together, and it's all just a wonderful you don't no they don't need pepper spray. Pepper spray burns. That's gonna make someone go ouchie. You don't want to make someone go ouchie, do you? No, let's not give them pepper spray. They should take the whenever there's someone who is agitating, and someone who has a gun, and someone who's armed, and someone who's throwing bricks at them and ramming them with their cars and doing all these things, let's all get the pillows out of the van and let's build a pillow fort. Because when you build a pillow fort, right, when you build the pillows, everybody else is just going to become softer. Everybody's going to get immediately sleepy. That's what's going to happen. We're going to build a pillow fort, and when people are trying to come to ram us in our cars and throw bricks at our head, they're going to see the pillows and they're going to go, hey guys, why don't we take a nap instead? And everyone is just going to go for a nap, and after we all wake up from our naps, then we're going to go, what were we fighting about again? Let's all go home. That's your plan, right, sir? Jesus.
On protesters, that's insane. It would be as if we gave every postal worker and every person who delivers the mail, an AR-15.
So you're comparing ICE agents to postal workers? They're delivering mail? Is that what they're doing? Or are they removing violent criminals? I've never seen someone throw a brick at a mailman. I've never seen a group of people trying to ram their cars into mailmen while they're trying to deliver the mail. I've never seen that. I don't know.
They don't need it to complete their duties, and it's insane that they have been armed and are wearing flak jackets and are obviously wearing masks for no other reason than to obscure their identity and prevent accountability. Obviously, the shootings are unjustified, but the entire situation that recently Alex Pretti unfortunately found himself in, and the woman next to him, they should not have been pushed aside by these putative federal officers for exercising their First Amendment rights. They should not have been restrained. They should not have been pepper sprayed while they were restrained.
And guess what? You may well be right. You may well be right. That's probably true. What you're saying is probably perfectly true. And you know what? They might have had a case. Alex Pretti might have had a case had he just taken the pepper spray and gone down. Maybe he could have brought a case. It's already being videotaped. He could have come to you. He could have come to Legal Eagle. And he could have said, hey, I have this footage of these officers pepper spraying me and shoving a woman. And they arrested me. And then you could have gone, they can't do that. You have a First Amendment right to and you could have brought a case against them, and you could have maybe sued and maybe gotten some money. But Can't do that now.
Of course, they should not have been shot and murdered while they were prone and restrained. None of that. The entire situation.
He was not restrained. He was not restrained. He was fighting. He was in the middle of fighting when he went down. He was in the middle of fighting. Yes, he was surrounded by officers, but he was not restrained.
Situation should not have happened. 3,000 ICE and CBP officers should not have been deployed to Minneapolis in the first place.
Doesn't
I will
matter.
echo what some legal commentators have said. This is basically stochastic terrorism. If you send 3,000 untrained psychopaths with guns into a place where people are angry, where they are not effectuating the law, you don't know who's going to die, but you know that people are going to die.
Right.
And I think that President Trump...
Stay your ass out the way.
And I think that Stephen Miller have blood on their hands because this is what they wanted. It's honestly incredible that the people of Minneapolis and Minnesota have shown as much restraint as they have, and that they have not taken the bait and they have not responded to violence with violence. And that's incredible. And it deserves commendation, not the least of which because they're not going to be the last. It's
Bro,
going to...
You can't respond to them with violence. You're saying it's commendable that they haven't. It would be so stupid for them not to try to. It would just be the dumbest thing. Who goes up against the American military or against armed forces or against any? You're saying, oh, they shouldn't be there. Listen, they're there. They're there, and they have guns. And as you guys rightly call them, they're hotheads. Stay out of their way is the smart thing to do. Don't go and aggravate them. Don't go and rustle and tussle with them in the street. Don't force them to have to get 6 of them to bring you down, to pull you down. Don't do that. And if you find yourself in the midst of a situation with these officers or whatever it is, as you call them, postmen, if you find yourself in the midst of the situation with these people, go limp as quickly as possible. That's what you should be advising people as a lawyer. That's what you should advise people to do. You're being highly irresponsible here. You need to advise. Isn't that what lawyers always tell people? Whenever the police pull you over, or the police bust into your house, or whatever it is, comply. That's what lawyers always say. They say, comply and call me. Shut your mouth, comply, and then call me. The 3 C's. Cállate, comply, and call me. That's what you need to do. Shut your shit, go limp, comply, and then call me. When you get your one phone call from jail, call your lawyer, so I can come and get you out, and we're gonna go sue them and get some money. Wrongful arrest, no probable cause, whatever. Why are you not advising people of the responsible thing to do to keep themselves safe? Is what I'm wondering. You're commending these people instead of advising them not to risk their lives unnecessarily. Jano, legal, come on. You need to go get yourself. You need to go wash your face. When I was a kid, they used to tell us that when you're having like an emotional tantrum, they say go wash your face and come back. You need to go wash your face and come back. You need to go sop some cold water on your face and go take a sleep, because this is not a very responsible legal response. And no, I'm not a lawyer, but bruh, come on. I think it's common sense.
To other cities, predominantly blue and majority Democratic cities.
And I'm not saying, listen, you may well be right about the constitutional right for them to be there, and whether they are overextending their administrative duties, and and they shouldn't be armed, and they shouldn't all those things may well be true. So you and all the other lawyers in America need to go take the government to court. That's what y'all need to do. But you can't win this fight by rustling and tussling with the officers in the middle of the street with a gun on your hip. That's not going to be the way that you're going to win this, sir.
Because what ICE and CBP are doing is a terror campaign. It is a pretext that they are effectuating anything related to immigration at this point. And also, I will point out that there are a lot of people doing a lot of good. There are a lot of lawyers working overtime. Right after this happened, lawyers who had already received a temporary restraining order saying that ICE could not employ unconstitutional methods to restrain and punish all of the protesters, filed a emergency motion with the Court of Appeals to lift an administrative stay that was put in place, which is a thing that often happens. And it's insane that they would need a TRO in the first place to restrain these people en masse from conducting unconstitutional raids and unconstitutional methods. But the declarations from people who were on the scene and saw Alex Pretti shot with their own eyes, it's crazy that lawyers would respond within a few hours and get that in front of a judge. It's also, there was some parallel.
If only he had been alive. So exactly what I'm saying. If only he had been alive. If only he had just stayed on the side of the street, man. If only he had just not gotten in the way of the officers, not given them any reason to touch him, to have anything to do with him. If only you had just stayed off to the side, bro. Maybe you would have gotten pepper sprayed and you could have been part of this legal action. Who knows? You could have gotten some money out of it.
Parallel litigation from the Minnesota Bureau in charge of the investigation that was stymied by ICE, which is another thing for another day. Within a few hours, they had a motion in front of a judge seeking a temporary restraining order to prevent ICE from destroying evidence because they already mucked up the crime scene. The declarations and affidavits from people in support of that are also incredible. And another incredible thing that is within 2 hours, a Trump-appointed judge granted the TRO. And, you know, these are not perfect mechanisms. It's something that in the past has helped to prevent ICE from destroying evidence, which I think they did in the case of Jonathan Ross when they...
So you're proving my point here now. So you're saying that in the past, legal action, proper legal action, has had some effect as a public response to the actions of ICE. That's what you're saying. You know what has not had any effect? Renee Good and Alex Pretti. Zero effect. Except a bunch of people crying and bawling. No effect. They just died for nothing. Really unfortunate. Yes, it's heartbreaking to see it happening. It's heartbreaking to watch people reduced to this kind of desperate, crazy, irrational behavior and dying as a result of it. I mean, gosh.
They took all of the stuff out of his house and put it God knows where. It probably goes without saying, but it's unfortunate and it's crazy that we cannot trust federal officers in the first place, but we also cannot trust them to investigate. There are also things that Congress...
But don't you guys say that all the time? Lawyers are always telling people, do not trust the police. If you get arrested, if you get whatever, shut your mouth. Because they're designed to use everything against you. They're designed to safeguard themselves and put you at risk. That's the whole design of it. That's what it is. It's force. It's force. These people spend every single day working out how they can get away with doing what they need to do forcefully and then back it up legally. That's what they do. So why not? I'm gonna watch this video to the end because I want to give this guy a fair chance because I like him, right? I'm disappointed by this video because I was expecting a sound legal response rather than just an emotional crybaby little thing here. But I'm gonna listen to the end because I wanna hear. There's one thing I'm listening for. Whether or not you're gonna tell people that the responsible thing to do is not to aggravate these ICE officers. They're illegal, they're crazed, they're unconstitutional, they have guns, they have this, they have that. Stay out of their way. Leave them alone. And if they arrest you, if they stop you, if they search you, if they do anything, comply. So that when we get into the back end of it now, we could all get some money out of them. That's what you should be telling them, sir.
Can and should do immediately. Obviously, they should not fund ICE in the future, but that's the table stakes. We need to have serious curtailment of the immunity that exists. Federal officers do not have absolute immunity, but they do have strong immunity, and it is incredibly difficult to sue the federal government when you have had your constitutional rights deprived. Obviously, there's qualified immunity on a state level when state actors do that. It would be unbelievably easy for Congress to amend the current laws to provide a right of action for people to be able to sue, to remove qualified immunity unnecessarily, and to prevent all of this stuff in the future, because the current framework for immunity for people who commit heinous crimes like these, I think it's untenable and it's disgusting. And then, of course,
yeah, you guys need to get to work advocating for that, man. I don't know what else to tell you.
The people
but the only other thing I tell you is the answer is not to be out in the street rustling and tussling with them.
Who are responsible for this at the very top need to be impeached. This is an impeachable offense. Like I said, I truly believe that this is, or some version of this is exactly what Donald Trump and Stephen Miller wanted. And in some sense, they have gotten what they wanted. And now it's time for them to be removed from office because they are absolutely unfit from top to bottom. It needs to be removed root and stem. And if you thought it couldn't get any more craven than it is, within hours of Alex Pretti's shooting, Pam Bondi sent a letter to Governor Tim Walz saying that if they would turn over voter information, then they would withdraw ICE from Minneapolis. So if you want a confession that this was never about immigration and that on some level this is about winning the next election, and that if you thought that these people couldn't get any more craven, they can, and they will, and they did.
Yeah, nobody disagrees with that, sir. I don't. This is the problem. Like, you're all acting brand new. Nobody disagrees that this is probably something political, that the state has some nefarious agenda somewhere, and that the cards are stacked against you. Nobody's arguing that. Nobody. That's been the case since I was a kid. No, I mean, this is not. None of this is news to anyone. What's surprising is how stupid people are. That's what's surprising, is that people think that it's okay for them to go and rumble and tumble with armed officers in the streets, and that you're not gonna get shot, and that you think what, simply because the public can litigate it in some frame by frame Monday morning armchair analysis, that you're somehow going to be justified? You're not going to be justified. What justice is there going to be for this guy? None. He just died for no reason, because he was in a place where he shouldn't have been. Tell people, don't be there. When you see the officers, comply, and then let's deal with the legal things in the back end. But don't risk your life. Don't risk bloodshed.
I'm flabbergasted from everything that's happened. The thing that
I'm flabbergasted too.
That I keep coming back to is how incredible the people who are resisting are doing in the face of such adversity, and how they are rising to the occasion.
You're encouraging people to do more, sir.
I believe
you're encouraging people. More people are going to get shot because of this, because some fool is going to look at this and go, yeah, it is a noble cause. We are commendable. And that person is going to be the next person to get shot.
Attorney General Bondi said that this country was formed for respect for law enforcement. I actually think that could not be further from the truth. This country was formed by resisting and rebelling against tyranny, and that tradition is what I think people point to when they say that we engage in American activity. And we should continue to do so. I know people want to to do something, and our options.
You think that people should continue to do so? I agree. I think people should continue to resist and to challenge and question. But what I need people to do is to wake up and realize that the effective form of resistance has changed. It's no longer protesting in the street. What it is online. It's YouTube. It's Nick Shirley. It's Joe Rogan. It's these guys. It's podcasters. It's people like him, like yourself. It's advocacy of the mouth. It's people sharing things online. People, videotaping things and sharing videos. It's virality. That's what it is. It's not in bloodshed, sir.
Are limited. One thing that you can do that was recommended to me by commentator Will Stansel, who is on the ground in Minneapolis, is to donate to the Lawyers Guild of Minnesota.
All right. Okay. So here's the thing. Mr. Legal Eagle, again, I like you a lot. I like your channel. But this is disappointing for me. It's disappointing that you are so emotional. I thought lawyers were non-emotional people. This is just a bunch of emotional nonsense, to be honest with you. I'm really sorry to say that. It wasn't, there was no legal analysis here. Except the only strength that you have is for the ICE agents. But you don't have a legal analysis for the guy on the ground, right? For Mr. Pretti. You don't have any thoughts in that direction. Your only thoughts are how wrong the state is, and that may well be true, but bro, these people are not acting in a rational, sensible way. These protesters, they're not doing a good job at preserving their lives right now, and they're just further aggravating the situation. And what we don't realize is that each time another civilian gets killed, the tension grows higher on both sides now. So yes, the public is even more anxious and more tense and whatever, but also the ICE officers and agents, they're even more tense and they're more anxious because they're like, oh shit, I wonder if today is going to be the day that one of us is going to have to shoot. Shit, I wonder if it's going to be me who has to pull the trigger one of these days. Oh God, I hope I don't have to end up in a circumstance where in the course of doing my job, some idiot makes me have to pull the trigger and then boom, bam, and then no, I'm being doxxed and I'm having to answer in front of whatever, Again, my question is, what are these people expecting the officers to do when 6 of you are trying to rustle and tussle this guy down, and he's fighting you and fighting you and fighting you, and he has a gun on his hip? Yeah, but the gun wasn't holstered. How long does it take to unholster a gun? And when you're in a dog pile and there's a whole arms and feet and everything is flailing and things are happening, it's crazy. How long in that situation does it take for someone to pull out a gun and fire off a shot? For someone else to get hurt? For one of the officers or a civilian to get hurt? It wouldn't take a split second for that to happen. And you don't know what the officer saw or from what he didn't see. We can see with 5 angles. The officers do not have that play-by-play, frame-by-frame reaction that we have days later when we've gathered all the footage. They don't have time for that. They're rustling and tussling this armed guy in the midst of them while they're doing some operation that you claim is illegal. Fine, sure, maybe it's illegal. Well, then go challenge the legality of it. Take them to court. Get your league of lawyers together and y'all go do something and go take them to court, as you should. But don't rustle and tussle with the officers while you're armed, because that will significantly increase your likelihood of being shot and killed, sir. That's common sense. That's what I'm seeing from all the different angles. I'm thinking, shit, I do not want to be one of those officers. I would hate to be one of those officers. Because this guy is fighting and rustling and fighting and rumbling and stuff, and we can't get him subdued, and he has a gun on his waist. I don't know if I'm gonna get shot, if one of our officers is gonna get shot, if a civilian is gonna get shot. I don't know what's gonna happen because this guy is acting out of control. We're not able to get this guy subdued. We need to subdue this situation. You now can come, Mr. Legal Eagle. You can come now on the back end and you can argue in court whether or not they had the right to subdue him in the first place. You could now come and argue in court whether or not it was legal for them to be there in the first place. Sure. Do that by all means. More of that, please. Yes. But as far as what the officers are expected to do in the situation, in this chaotic situation, bruh, come on. Like, yes, it's heartbreaking to watch someone be killed in the street. Someone who is such a good man, or he's a nurse and he was asking the lady if she's okay and all these wonderful things. Sure, he seemed like he was a really nice guy. He seems like he was more nice than he was smart. And that's really a pity. He seems like he was a nicer guy than he was smart. And that's not me trying to insult him or anything. I mean, God rest his soul. You know, he probably was a really good person. And I wish he were still alive. But he seems like he was just nicer than he was smart. And I don't know what people are expecting the officers to do in that situation. It's just, if you guys want to make a case that ICE is this wicked, terrible organization, wouldn't you guys have better cases than this? Wouldn't you guys have actual, like, clearer executions? Like, we wouldn't need 5 angles to determine it. We wouldn't need all of this stuff. It would be clear. Their evil would be obvious. But here we have this situation. I mean, listen, bro. I don't know what's gonna happen. It doesn't seem like this is getting any better anytime soon. I really hope that more innocent civilian lives are not lost in this situation. I hope that people start to wake up and just go, listen, let me not do this. Let's find a safer way. Let's fight these guys from a distance. Okay? Let's fight these guys in a way that is not gonna risk innocent lives being lost, because it's a real tragedy and it's super traumatic for people to have to watch this all the time. But yeah, anyway guys, go check out Legal Eagle. Still a good channel. He's still really smart. He's still a cool guy. He's obviously very emotional, and that's a little bit disappointing right now. He's obviously, you know, a liberal, and that's fine. You know, these people are highly emotional, but you know, that's what it is. I wouldn't want him as my lawyer right now. I'm sorry, because he seems way too emotional. But check out his channel. I like him. Big up yourself, and thanks for watching.